Hi, good evening. Welcome to my talk on insights into Anahata, the heart chakra. I'm condensed this talk. There's so much information, there's so much to know about Anahata, but I'm hoping that I've got the essence here tonight, and if there's anything further, you can explore it further. So Anahata is about love, the breath, air, balance, relationship. It's about our affinity with things, unity, and healing. So you can see that's a pretty big remit. So I'm just going to share a slide that will give us, oh, there we go. Okay, so the symbol for Anahata is the 12-pointed lotus. And in the center of that lotus here, we have the 6-pointed star. And that 6-pointed star represents this triangle pointing upward is matter reaching up to the higher spiritual centers. So it's like the upper triangle of our higher self, the soul, if you like. And then the downward pointing triangle there is spiritual energy coming down into matter, or you could think of it as the chakras below the heart. And then the center point right in the center there is Anahata, because the heart chakra is the link between the higher chakras and the lower chakras. It's where we start to become truly living a spiritual life rather than just reading about it. Or Anahata is, I suppose you could think of it as the rainbow bridge. And it's really the place where we get a lot of the clearing out that's required. And these 6 points also relate to the other 6 chakras that all need to be in balance for the central point for Anahata to be effective, for us to work from an open-hearted way of being. So Anahata, it's very much about air and space. So when this chakra is free from the grief of old hurts, so old emotional hurts, its opening is very innocent, very fresh, and it's radiant. Okay, it mediates between the world of spirit and the world of matter. It's a place in which we can relate compassionately. We come to understand unconditional love for others, forgiveness, gratitude, caring, courage. These are all qualities of Anahata. But this love that is at the very heart of the heart, if you like, is not dependent upon others. This is not a conditional love that's dependent upon anything. And in Anahata, we need to develop self-love. And many people don't realize that they think of Anahata more in terms of an altruistic love and a love for others. But it's very much focused on balancing that love for others with a love for self. And in many respects, the love for self needs to be firmly grounded in our being before we can truly love others. So it's not a tribal love of the base chakra, it's not a sexual love of the sacral chakra, but it's a state of being that's enduring and it's constant. It's like ethereal, like air. It's all around us, and hence, you know, things like love is in the air, and our songs reflect the nature of the love we experience from here. So the still point in the center here is also the sacred marriage of the yin and the yang. That's where these two opposites come into a point of balance. The color associated with Anahata is green, and this is for growth and renewal. This is the chakra more than any other at which our real spiritual growth begins. When we start to move up to opening Anahata, our lifetimes tend to become challenging because we've got to clear out all the old emotional stuff, the dross. We've got to clear everything, all the attachments, all the unexpressed emotion of the Manipura chakra, and transmute it, lift it up into the heart. And the heart needs to be clear. Okay, so at open-hearted, there's an expansiveness, there's a clarity. So it's through the heart chakra that we experience our connection with the infinite. It's the marriage of the heavenly spirit to the earthly man. And this is like the quote from the Bible, I and my Father are one, from John chapter 10. So when we are in the center of our heart, we see with the eyes of compassion. The secret to the balance in Anahata is to balance giving and receiving while always maintaining a core energy, a core connection to our sense of self. So giving too much or giving, people associated being heartfelt or open-hearted with continually giving or giving when you're already depleted, but giving when your resources are low. But this is not love. This is not the flow to this is not coming from a place of self-care and self-love. And so the heart is this balancing between giving and being open to receiving. So for your cup to always be full, you have to, and to floweth over, you have to allow that reception. You have to be receptive and open. So it's about this balance, balancing the love of others with the love of yourself. And it's our relationships with other people that enable the healing and the clearing out in Anahata. If we never had any relationships with others, we wouldn't get the same spiritual growth that we do if we have the courage to embark upon relating to others from the heart. So relationships offer us an opportunity for self-knowledge and for coming to love our darker side. Our very most intimate relationships tend to hold up a mirror and show us our darker side and give us the opportunity to heal past hurts, to heal misperceptions from the past, to heal any abusive situations that have gone before. So listening to the heart is essential to maintaining a healthy, mutually respectful relationship with somebody else. So really, when we relate to others, it reveals how much we love ourselves. So the Anahata relates to the actual, the spiritual heart chakra relates to the physical heart, relates to the lungs, and relates to the thymus gland. It relates to the quality of air. So think of air, think of the freedom as birds fly. The airing of a room clears it out. There's a lightness and a simplicity and a softness to this chakra. But don't think of the softness as a weakness. Oh no, no, this is a very powerful chakra, and I'm going to talk a little bit more on this, but we are only really just beginning to understand as a collective humanity the power of love. We're really in the infant stages of that understanding. So we talk about when we fall in love, we're walking on air. The air is spacious because we have let things go. There's room to breathe. So air disperses itself evenly throughout the space it's in, and love is the same. Love is all-encompassing. It's not selective. I'll love you if you love me, and I'll love you because I like the look of you, or I'll love you because you do what I want you to. No, that is the conditional love, and it's really an attached, codependent, even narcissistic type of love of Manipura. No, true love is all-encompassing, love for all. So, and the breath air relates to prana and relates to the vital energy. And when we control the breath like we do in the yoga pranayama exercises, we quieten the mind. So the breath is like the connection between the mind and the heart, between the higher centers. And it is through this physical control of the breath that we are able to go inward into the deepest parts of our heart and into its intuitive wisdom. So this chakra requires transcendence of the ego. This is where this going into the mind and using the breath to quieten the mind, to step back from the ego thoughts, to see them as they play out, to disconnect from that and sever that connection to those thoughts, gives us the power to surrender to forces far greater than ourself, and to start to truly understand the workings of our mind and its relationship to the heart. So love is a unifying force. It draws together, it draws things together and keeps them in relationship. From this unity that we experience with others, we come to know a unity that's out much more than just within ourselves. We can come to know a unity with one other, with family, with community, eventually with all. So love allows change, it allows freedom, but it keeps a coherence at its very center. So love and approval are basic to our personal growth as they promote self-acceptance, and this is a necessary step to loving ourselves. So the heart chakra perceives the world in its unity, not its separation. So one of the most basic fears, one of the biggest fears that manifests in many different ways amongst all people, is the fear of rejection. Okay, it threatens our internal balance and it threatens our self-acceptance. So this fear of rejection works as a protective device, like a gatekeeper of the delicate heart chakra. And so if in this lifetime or previous we have been rejected in our relations, in our dealings with other people, quite often people will close down their heart. It's like they have a protective wall around their heart because they don't want to feel rejection. But the trouble is that when we close down the heart, we become isolated. We no longer feel connected to all that is. We no longer feel connected to our fellow man. We also stop the connection between the lower chakras and the higher chakras. So in terms of a spiritual development, you cannot develop spiritually if you close your heart in fear. And this takes courage. If you have been badly hurt, it takes enormous courage to open the heart again and risk getting hurt again. And this is really the keynote of the heart chakra, is that courage to open regardless. So learning to love needs all the chakras functioning well. We need to feel, we need to communicate, we must have autonomy and power, we need to see and understand. But most importantly, we need to relax and let it happen. So when we talk about going in the flow and trusting in life and trusting the process of life, it's very much this flow is the giving and receiving and the staying open in the heart. So that's where this comes from. Because if our heart is closed down, and some people will close their heart down, and it's normal to close it down and go through a period of grieving after perhaps the death of someone or the loss of a relationship, but it's not healthy for it to stay closed. So we usually have a period of time where it closes down, where we needed to heal, and then we have the courage to open up again. And some people will come back and they will just open to certain people and they'll close down to strangers, or they'll just open in certain situations and they'll close down in others. And these walls, the trouble is, when you close the heart, yes, you keep out the fear and you keep out the rejection and you keep out the emotions that hurt, but you also close down to joy. And joy is one of the highest vibrations that it's possible for a human to experience. And joy comes from an open heart. You can't experience joy unless the heart is open. And so we close down those positive emotions as well. So we almost become flatlined. So instead of the ups and downs of a healthy emotional life, it's like this. Okay. And that you'll know people who've had such hurt that they've just closed down. And it takes immense courage to open up again. So the heart is yin. It's a feminine energy. The most profound love that we can give to another is to let, or we can express in the world, is to let things be as they are. So when you love someone and let them be as they are, that is unconditional. And it is something that we as humans in our evolutionary development are only really starting to understand. So love is not about getting connected. It's about realizing you're already connected. Okay. So this connection is a connection to a deep fundamental truth that connects us all and runs through life. Okay. It makes the mundane sacred so that we care and protect. Okay. So the shift from Manipura, from the solar plexus chakra to the heart, the big shift that occurs, and this can take lifetimes to start to open. Like I said last time, most people on the planet, the chakras below the heart are open. People who are becoming more aware are starting to open the heart. Some are opening the throat, and some people who are sort of more spiritually along on their path are opening the higher centers. But the key difference between Manipura and Anahata is awareness. So when the heart starts to open, the awareness of the person increases amazingly. So yes, life does get more challenging because you have to clear out all that old emotional hurt, but you start to become much more aware of what that process involves, of what's going on. You become increasingly aware of the soul's presence and the soul's energy and the soul's impulses and the impulses from your higher self. So I want to look at the archetypes to get a bit clearer understanding of this chakra. So the true lover is the positive archetype, and this is someone who loves themselves unconditionally and doesn't need other people to buoy them up. Okay, so they freely open their hearts and share their self-acceptance with others. So they're sharing their self-love with others. They're magnetic, radiant people who truly own themselves. So you can start to see there's an association between love and empowerment, self-power. Okay, quite often the heart is the area in which power is abused, the power over rather than power to. So the truly open heart, the true lover, empowers others. A person who doesn't have that level of self-acceptance and self-love feels like they have to have power over others in order to love and feel good about themselves. So the more negative archetype, the performer here, they mask their personal wounds by playing at being in love. Okay, it's a very different experience to truly loving. It's a theoretical, cerebral activity, and there isn't the heart and soul energy involved. And it's probably, it takes a certain awareness to see that. They're often codependent because they're craving the love that they don't actually have, kidding themselves that their wounds can be healed by someone else that they can connect to and draw strength from. So there's a huge fear of betrayal, and this sabotages any real happiness with another, or any real connection. So you might recognize some qualities there. So when the heart chakra is spinning too fast, it's too open, it's letting in too much prana or subtle energy. A person is very possessive, a very jealous type of a love. The love is conditional, okay? Conditional on another's behavior, of them being a certain way. And we get into all the psychological dramas that we get between between people in close love relationships. Often there's withholding emotionally to punish. So love is used as a weapon. And they can be overly dramatic. This is almost coming into this performer. They're performing at being in love. Okay, so it's not a genuine love. When this is blocked, this comes from, like I said, that wall has gone up. There's that fear of rejection, or sometimes it presents that they love too much. Okay, and that's a lack of self-love. The love is all projected onto another person. Or they may feel unworthy of love. There can be deep conditioning that relationships will bring up, where they really realize they feel unworthy, and that can relate to experiences in childhood where perhaps they didn't feel truly loved. There can be self-pity. So when it is balanced, the person, one of the key things when the heart chakra is balanced is the person is able to be compassionate. They can love unconditionally. They can nurture. They're very nurturing. That yin female nurturing energy can flow through in both men and women. And there starts to be a desire for the actual love making, the physical act of love making, to become a spiritual process. So it's not if you like, it's lifted up into the higher chakras, into the higher centers, rather than just being mostly in the lower chakras. So the heart, the sort of conditions or diseases or that we see with the heart are to do with heart disease. And this is one of the reasons heart disease is prevalent, is because more and more people are opening their heart. Often high blood pressure, and conditions to do with not breathing properly, shallow breathing, not being able to breathe right down into the diaphragm. And I'll just read to you why cancer, from an esoteric point of view, is linked to the heart chakra. And this is also a reason why it is so prevalent in the world at this time. So the heart chakra has the power to build, to vitalize, and bring coherence to form. So this can easily overstimulate atoms and vitality, and it lead to adverse problems in the bloodstream. So it's almost like the etheric body becomes too potent for the physical body, and this causes an overgrowth. So there's too much prana coming in, and that overgrowth manifests in tumors and growths and cysts, fibroids, heart and stomach problems. So it is a condition that's related to the heart chakra. It's suggested that tumors can be linked to thwarted desires and ambitions and an underactive or a blocked solar plexus. I don't want to go too far into that, because we could do a whole talk on esoteric healing. So I want to talk about this idea that many people who are becoming more spiritually aware are opening their heart chakra. Because what happens is, as the heart starts to open and there's this experience of an increasing understanding of love, it combines with, if there's been the clearing of the Manipura chakra and that clearing of the emotional garbage, if you like, out of the heart chakra, we get the will of Manipura here combining with the love of the heart, and we get a quality that we are seeing increasingly in our human family, the quality of goodwill, or the will to good. And this is the will to serve the greater good. So it's not serving your own needs only, it's looking beyond that. And it's developing an altruism, an altruistic heart. It's developing the natural expression of service. Okay, and at this point in time, from what I've read in the esoteric writings of Alice Bailey, is that this goodwill is the highest expression of universal love that we are capable of at this time. Okay, so the key to the altruistic heart and the key to the heart is intention. So someone can do good works and someone can do good things, but the key is where they're coming from. What is very honest, very truthful desire behind that? Because if there's any desire for self-recognition, for all sorts of reasons that people do good things, then it's coming from the lower desire, and it's working on the expression of working in individual consciousness, and it hasn't lifted the heart up into the higher Buddhic aspiration, where there's no thought or intention for self. It's almost an impulsive action where the person just meets the need rather than thinking about, oh, I want to do some good works, I'll go and do this. They just do it. Okay, and that's where it's all about intention. And it's very much with the heart, we are at a stage where we're still very much centered in individual consciousness, and increasing numbers of us are lifting up into this higher group consciousness, starting to be aware of the concept of brotherhood, of the unity of mankind, of the connection we have with all, and acting on group consciousness. Well, there's even higher consciousnesses that we will move as a collective and can do individually than group consciousness. And it moves through into an understanding of what I would call universal consciousness. And it's very hard to explain as a concept. You go from a point of being individually conscious to being group conscious to being love. And I can't explain it any more than that, because it is not something that words can describe. It's a way of being. So I just wanted to mention, on Monday we had the United Nations International Day of Peace, and we're seeing every year more and more groups throughout the world responding to this event, which is essentially igniting group consciousness in the hearts of many. So it's written that there is an actual entity, a highly advanced vibration they call the spirit of peace. And as we move through group consciousness and we move into these higher realms of the expression of the heart, one of the areas we move into is peace, a deep understanding of peace, both individually, and a desire for peace collectively. And eventually we will build a society where we live peacefully, when everybody's heart is opened and we've opened some higher centers, and as a collective we have moved further in our evolution. But this connection to this essence, this energy, or this spirit of peace, it's written that the door to peace must be opened by a united act of will. So that's all of us working together. And this is done by the combination of invocation. So this is like when we repeat the great invocation. This is one of the main reasons we do what we do on Thursday nights in the way that we do it. Plus directed determination. So we're coming from a higher heart and we're using the will energy, and we're bringing the ray 1 of the will, the ray 2 of the heart, and we're bringing these together into something that is called active intelligence. And this creates a powerful energy when we bring these 3 rays together. So the other thing to realize is that this week, as well as the International Day of Peace, we have had the autumn equinox in this hemisphere. And the equinox, we're starting to realize, especially those working in group consciousness, working in groups, we're starting to realize the importance of the solstices and the equinoxes as portals of opportunity for this invocation and directed determination when groups come together. And this is something that it's written will gather momentum. It will become more and more prevalent. And it's what we're involved with here. It's one of the main reasons for these Thursday evening sessions. So at the equinox, we have a point of balance. So I talked about this point of balance here in the heart. When you go into meditation and you find that point of stillness. This point of balance is when, you know, in the equinox, you've got equal night and day. You have a point of balance between the darkness and the light. And this is a powerful point of opportunity because this is where change occurs. This is where transformation occurs. And the heart is like the chakra of transformation. When I was talking to, actually it was Ted earlier in the week, he used a phrase that I thought was beautiful and it really resonated with me. And when we work in the energy of the heart, we become the weavers of the light. So you think weaving, creating something with light. And it's written that light or understanding always precedes love. Okay, so as we become weavers of love, so of light, so we open to our understanding and our expression of love. So that is quite a lot on Anahata, and I could talk for a lot longer, but hopefully that's given you enough to give you a really good feel for this chakra, to realize that it is a really important chakra, a clearinghouse, because of its connection. It's where we spiritualize matter. It's where we as physical beings lift up to those higher spiritual energies. But we've got to clear, we've got to put our house in order to truly live a spiritual life and not just read and think about it. And the heart is a pragmatic chakra. Okay, it is about being and allowing, but it's also about going with that flow and those acts of the will to good or goodwill. And just as a last note, it is written that the world will be saved. The world will be shifted to where we need to be by all the many myriad of small acts of goodwill, of people of goodwill. Okay, so take heart from that, especially in times that are challenging. Every single little small act of love, of goodwill, counts and matters. So I want to move now into the group meditation. And if you've got any questions or anything you want to add, we'll come back to that after the meditation. So try and forget everything. Whoops, I don't know what I've done here. That I have. Oh, that's what I was going to just quickly look if there's anything here. Oh, Anahata means, it's beautiful. Let me read it properly. The word Anahata, the sound made without two things striking. So I'll let you ponder on that. Venus is the ruling planet of the heart. Probably no surprise there, with very much the balance, Libra and Taurus in there. The heart is to do with the sense of touch. Okay. Here, some of the essential oils, the crystals, the animals associated. We've talked about these. Marriage is the sacred vow, the vegetable kingdom. And it's in our early 20s where we start to really come up against the clearinghouse of the heart, if you like. Right, let's move. So get yourself comfortable. You want your spine reasonably upright, but your body relaxed. And we're just going to bring our heart energies together. Okay, and we do this with this affirmation of love. So just repeating it to yourself with me. And this joining together, it doesn't matter whether you're here live or whether you're joining as part of the recording, because the level at which we're joining, time has no meaning. So be assured, it comes from your intention. If your intention is to join in this group meditation for the good of all, from a place of the heart, energy follows thought. Your energy will be centered in the heart with that intention. So let us repeat the affirmation of love. In the center of all love, I stand. From that center, I, the soul, will outward move. From that center, I, the one who serves, will work. May the love of the divine self be shed abroad in my heart, through my group, and throughout the world. Now gently close your eyes, and we'll begin by grounding our energy. So I want you to imagine you're sending an energetic connection, you're sending roots down into the earth under the building in which you are, either through the chakras in your feet or through the base chakra at the base of your spine. This is how we spiritualize matter. We have to be connected to the earth. Now I want you to come into this present moment. So just focus on the feeling of your body sitting in the chair. Be aware of the clothes on your skin. Turn your awareness to your sense of hearing and just allow the sounds to come in. And now gently take that awareness to a focus on your breath. And just notice the breath come into your body. Notice the breath as it leaves. And with each breath, take the breath a little deeper. And imagine that you are opening a channel right down through the very center of your body, beginning between the sternum and the spine. Nice, slow, deep breaths, allowing your body to relax. Now keep a gentle focus on the breath. And let it take you into a peacefulness inside of you. So if your mind becomes distracted by thoughts, physical feelings, sensations, or sounds, as soon as you notice, come back to the breath. And come back with loving kindness. Thoughts will still run in your mind. They'll come into your mind and pass through. But keep a focus on your breath. Now bring your focus into the center of your chest. And imagine that you are breathing into your heart center. As you breathe in, you're filling your heart with light, with love, and with it, the heart-opening quality of gratitude. Know that through your heart you can connect to your soul, to your higher self. Now I want you to imagine that you are opening to bring white or violet purple or gold light down from your higher self through the crown of your head. And this is pouring down through all the major energy centers or chakras in your body, bringing them into alignment and into play. Now imagine your heart as the vessel that receives and distributes this light throughout the rest of your body. So your heart radiates this light. It is the point of distribution. And continue to let your physical body fill with light, with love. And this is purifying, cleansing, and healing your physical body, strengthening your immune system, bringing calm and healing to your emotions, peace to your mind. Bringing all aspects of you into a coherence centered in your heart. Now let the energy of light and love flow out into the etheric energy body or aura that surrounds your physical body, so that you radiate light and love. Imagine this pure energy flowing out into your home, filling all the living beings that you share your home with light and with love. Now let it flow out into your street, touching the hearts and minds of your neighbors. Invoking the will to good. Now continue to let this lighted love to flow out into your community, your neighborhood. Now let it flow out into the town or city in which you live. Now let it flow out to connect with the lighted love of all of the members of this group meditation. And let us fill this nation. Now imagine that this beautiful energy is flowing out into this part of the world, flowing out into Europe, and keeps radiating out to fill the whole of this hemisphere. And then to fill the southern hemisphere as well. So that it now encompasses the whole world. And this group has joined with all other groups working in this way, who share the same intention of the heart. Now imagine that you can see our planet from space, and you can see it surrounded by this light, and see this light healing and restoring the balance in nature, so that our air and our water is clean and fresh. We have a healthy ozone layer and our planet is healed. See all animal and plant life flourishing. Now see this light flowing into the hearts and minds of all of mankind, bringing peace, igniting goodwill, and the desire for right relations between individuals, within families, communities, nations, between nations, within the whole human family. Lifting our awareness and the collective consciousness of all up into the heart. So we can learn to live in peace and in harmony with all. Visualize these energies unifying and eliminating all divisions within humanity, healing and transforming human consciousness, and establishing right human relations. Now continue to hold your heart open and allow this lighted love to radiate out. Together we hold this space. Let there be peace on earth. Let all beings find true peace in their own hearts. And now let us sound the great invocation together. Repeat it to yourself silently or out loud, but repeat it with that determination, invoking the will, pausing between each stanza to imagine the words playing out. So let us begin. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Now gently bring your energy back into your own energy field. When you are ready, slowly come back to an awareness of your body. Just opening your eyes. Namaste. So now we come, just start that. Now we come to the part where you get to have a say. You get to ask some questions if you want to. So I will give you the opportunity to unmute yourself if you want to. But if you have a question or you have something you want to say, just raise your hand, let me know. Or if you're not so keen to do that, write it in the chat and I will read it out and we can talk about it. Michael. Oh, we'll go Michael, then Bernie.
Thank you for a fascinating talk, Teresa. This subject is something I've read a lot about, but I think that was a really refreshing and insightful and new way of interpreting. So I think you brought everything forward in an absolutely beautiful way. So that was really, really excellent.
Thank you.
One little observation. It's just a bit of detail. I think you referred to the hexagon symbol as the Star of David.
Oh, yeah.
And for such neutral information, I wouldn't align it with any kind of religion, because it's effectively the hexagon symbol is basically the fire symbol and the water symbol in harmony. So one is an inversion of the other. So it comes from the kind of balance of the elements rather than something else.
Yeah, no.
So, but over and above that,
I totally.
That was definitely taking up existing knowledge a couple of levels, and I think we all appreciated that. So thank you for sharing that.
Well, it's something increasing the understanding of the heart. More knowledge and understanding of the heart will come through as we are ready and open to receive it. And that is something that is changing, and it is something that is accelerating in the change. And so I wanted tonight to present, to just push a little bit further into perhaps understanding that I haven't brought through before. And so that was intentional. Yeah. So great.
There's very much a sense of this being new. So I just wanted to feed that back to you.
Lovely, thank you. Right, Bernie, did you have a question?
Yes, yes, thanks, Trudy. I also found it very illuminating, and you know, I just think the chakras are the sort of the initiation of love, be it on a personal, interpersonal, interplanetary, but global love. It's where it starts. But my question really is about feelings. And you mentioned the relationship between the heart chakra and certain physical dysfunctions, like high blood pressure, heart disease, cancer, and breathing. And from my own experience, as in myself and my family and friends, in my clients as a holistic therapist and as a pharmacist, I've always found that especially cancer and heart disease and high blood pressure, is a result of suppression of feelings, which leads to a suppression of the immune system, which causes cancer and cardiovascular disease. So I just wanted to sort of clarify that. My own experience tells me when I've seen clients with cancer, they've actually suppressed a lot of feeling, and I'm not saying in all patients, but the immune system, the suppression of the immune system, which causes cancer, is related to the suppression of feelings. I'm just wondering whether you had any comments on that.
Yes, I mean, there's a lot written about this, both in deeper esoteric writings and also more commonly in literature, where we're looking at the link between the emotions and dis-ease in the body. And definitely my understanding is, especially cancer, is very much about the balance between self-love and loving others. You've got to be careful here, because it's not, you know, when somebody has cancer, you can't kind of judge and criticize, because also cancer is, it's written that it's also karmic, in terms of not just individual karma, maybe family karma, planetary karma. So there's lots of factors going on, but definitely I have seen profound healing in people post-cancer treatment who have really opened their heart, both to self-love and to the expression of love. And sometimes that's the wake-up call. Sometimes cancer can be the soul's wake-up call, especially if the person survives it and it's life-changing, it's transformative. The same with heart disease. But it's very much to do with, like you said, not a lack of expression, it can be a suppressed emotion. In cultures where emotions are more acceptable, where they flow more, they tend to have lower rates of heart disease, etc. Yeah. So it's about that opening to trust and that flow. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. Yeah, that's why the treatment of cancer is not just chemotherapy or radiotherapy, but actually treating the emotions as well. And most NHS don't look at that. They don't look at the feelings behind cancer.
And I think increasingly that is being recognized, and you know, you might have the main sort of treatment from the medical Western point of view, but people are looking for the complementary treatments that will bring in the other aspects to make it a holistic treatment. And I think the people who tend to really survive and thrive through the challenge of cancer are those who take responsibility for their own healing. And that's my observation.
Yeah, it's my observation too. Thanks for that, Teresa. Yeah.
But remember, the heart is also about the expression of the Christ consciousness. Okay, so you could, not so much from a Christian point of view, but certainly encompassing the Christian point of view, Jesus Christ as an avatar was taught us about the heart. Now, a lot of the messages my understanding, a lot of the messages have been sort of misinterpreted, and those messages that he brought were very much about love thy neighbor as thyself, forgive. Because one of the hardest things to do, but one of the things that heals the heart and heals your heart is forgiveness, true forgiveness. So forgiveness, people, I mean, I could do a whole talk on forgiveness, and maybe I will, because we misinterpret what forgiveness really means. Forgiveness is not about judging the other person's behavior. It doesn't condone behavior. Forgiveness is about healing the effect on your emotional self. Okay, and it's heals it. When you forgive, you don't even have to have anything to do with the other person. They don't have to be present. Forgiveness is about opening your heart and clearing that hurt. Often it involves seeing it differently, seeing the person was doing their best, seeing that you played a part in that, seeing that it wasn't perhaps as you first perceived it, seeing the truth of a situation. And one of the most profound books on forgiveness that I've come across is written by Desmond Tutu and his daughter as a result of working on the tribunals that looked at a lot of the grievances coming out of apartheid in South Africa. And that book gives a really good understanding of the process of forgiveness, because forgiveness is about our heart. It's not about the other person or what they did or didn't do. It's about opening our heart again, and lack of forgiveness will close down and block the heart chakra.
That's the day. Yeah, it's quarter past, I'm sorry.
All right. So is anybody else have any questions? No. Well, thank you. I think there's a lot to think about there. A lot to take heart from. And thank you for joining me this evening, and thank you for those joining through the recording. Namaste.
Thank you.